he's a poor man's. I think he's a poor man's Bo Nix. I don't like Jackson Dart. I just don't. I don't like him. I don't like him. Well, we'll see. I think we're going 5-12. Honestly. Oh, the Panthers. Panthers, Saints, Raiders. There's 3 teams right there. We got to be ahead of all those guys. All those guys are probably looking for quarterbacks. So that's 3 teams you have to leapfrog. Oh, who else? Let me see. Like I said, the Patriots and the. We can't worry about them. No. Why did they end up? I don't want that. New Orleans, Carolina, Cleveland. So, yes, there's. So, New Orleans, like Jacksonville, New England are not taking quarterbacks. New Orleans, Carolina, Cleveland, Vegas, they're all ahead of us right now. We lose to Carolina and New Orleans. Those are the only 2 teams I think we could beat. We would at that point we would be 2-9, and we would be behind those guys. I'm sorry, in front of those guys. You'd have to hope Vegas wins a game. I think you can. I think Vegas is going to win a game. I think he will. So we got to get in there. We got to leapfrog New Orleans, Carolina, Cleveland, and Vegas. Losing to New Orleans and Carolina will automatically go past them. We'll be in good shape. We'll be in good shape if that's the case. We'll be in good shape. Good shape. Panthers. Hopefully they do not beat the Panthers. Do not need them. Yeah, I'm not a big fan, Larry. I'm not a big fan. I'm a big fan of that, though. Cam Ward on the way. I'm a big fan of that. And I think I just want to address something because you get this all the time. Well, not all the time, but I see this on Twitter. I see this on YouTube. They always tell me, Bear Dog, you're not going to get Cam Ward because the Giants never drafted a black quarterback. And I get this all the time. The only time the Giants had an opportunity to draft a black quarterback was Dwayne Haskins. That was it. Who were they drafting instead of Dave Brown in 1995? Who was the guy? I didn't even know. They didn't draft a quarterback for years. They ended up with Kerry Collins. Then they got Eli. There's no black quarterback that draft class. They got Eli for a long time, and then they ended up with fucking Daniel Jones, which I didn't. I didn't want him. Go back on for a draft reaction. I'm like, thank God, because now, if nothing else, the Giants can take Dwayne Haskins. I would have rather taken Daniel Jones. Even though he ended up being, God rest his soul, he ended up being a good quarterback. But when did they have a chance? And remember this: draft the black quarterback, and that. Joe Shane, I don't want him picking a quarterback. They wanted Jaden Daniels. That was their number 1 guy. So, he's a black guy, and he's freaking great. So, you ain't got to worry about, he's black, they're not drafting him. And you ain't got to worry about, they don't know talent. Because obviously they did. They saw it. Give me Cameron Ward. I'm telling you right now, Cameron Ward is going to be really good. Authentic and I used to talk about him last year as a sleeper. Because I remember we would always say that's kind of our secret because nobody really talked about Cameron Ward. So we'd always be like, shh, tell nobody about Cameron Ward. It was kind of a funny. It was kind of a little, like I said, it was our little thing that we were talking about. Don't tell anybody about it because everybody was looking at the other quarterbacks for good reason. Baker been under a lot of duress. Baker. Retro Mike, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you, brother. Man, I don't know if you allow him to draft the quarterback. They get another 2-3 years, in my opinion. We did the same thing with Danny. But Danny stinks. He's terrible. And everybody knew that was a reach, Mike. Everybody knew that. Everybody knew that. The analysts knew it. Everybody was like, what the hell? Who was it that said, I feel bad for Giants fans? Organizations operate that way. If you draft your guy, you should get time to develop your guy. Yeah, but if he ends up being good, you want him to have time? You want him to have time. But Daniel Jones wasn't there right from the beginning. We knew that. We knew he wasn't. Here we go. Ready? Watch. Listen. There you go. That was it. Everybody knew that. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Well, that's the thing. I mean, listen, I was obviously pissed. I mean, everybody has seen that video. I was obviously not happy, but yes, he was a Giant. I had to root for him. I wanted him to succeed. I didn't want him to fail. I tried so hard to be on his side. And I was on his side in 2022. And I felt like the contract was the right thing to do. But it didn't work. He got the contract, and then, my God almighty, he decided he just falls off a cliff. 2022, he looked like he figured it the hell out. But what happened is teams adjusted, and Daniel Jones can only do so much. Brian Dable got the most out of Daniel Jones. Is the first year Dable's there, got the most out of Daniel Jones. Then defenses adjust to it. Brian Dable tries to adjust, and there's nothing there. It's like trying to find another gear that just isn't there. So it's just crazy, man. It's so bad. It's just terrible. Holy shit, what a catch. Shep with an amazing catch. This, for me, as an Oklahoma Shinners are fucking horrible this year. But as a Sooners fan, watching Baker throw to Shepard always kind of makes me smile. Throw it away, Baker. Or Mayfield's going to get the first. I love Baker Mayfield. I freaking love Baker Mayfield. He don't have the most talent in the world, but he gets the most out of his talent. Baker will fight, man. Baker is a fighter. He's a winner. The guy's all heart. And you know what? He has a lot of emotion. He's a shit talker, and he is what he is. I just love Baker. I've always loved Baker Mayfield. But people can say, oh, you could have got Baker Mayfield instead of signing Daniel Jones. But Baker Mayfield would not be as good in the Giants. Baker Mayfield would have got killed behind that offensive line. Baker Mayfield can't move. How did he only get to the freaking 1 yard line? How did he only get to... Oh, here's a question. Here's a question. If Tampa Bay scores a touchdown, do they go for 2? Do they go for 2? No, Doc, I'm not doing any political stuff on this channel. I'm just going to watch it upstairs, take the night off of YouTube. I'm not doing anything political on this channel. I'm not a political channel. So I'm not. There'll be plenty of guys that are doing it. Plenty of people do it. There's a lot of political channels on YouTube that I watch, but I'm not. I don't mix politics with sports. I mean, I obviously, I imitate Donald Trump. Why do I imitate Donald Trump? Because I'm the greatest at imitating Donald Trump. We all know that we see other imitators. They're not as good at driving football. Why aren't you running it? Then you understand. But you know, there's people, and they do Atlanta Trump imitations, and they're not nearly as good as me, Frank. And quite frankly, this imitation one of these days, it should just go viral. It should go by a lot of people. Should watch it, a lot of people. And then we'll have a great video, and there'll be that guy. Look at all the fake news. It'll be a lot of fake news, but we gotta have it. We should have a great viral video of me talking like Donald Trump. That I do, but I don't discuss it on here. And if I could have imitated Joe Biden, I could never get my Joe Biden imitation down. That's a touchdown. Let's see what they do. I could never get that down. I tried. I could never do a Joe Biden. Well, I would have loved to have been able to do it, but I obviously can't do Kamala Harris because I'm a man. Retro Mike, thank you, brother. Always appreciate your streams. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. Hit that thumbs up, bleed blue. Yeah. I appreciate you guys and girls dealing with the shitty Giants. They're going to kick a field goal. An extra point. I am surprised. Did you think weird faces with Joe Biden? I guess you just fall asleep. I could just trip over some. I could do that. Tie game. Patty Mahomes, give me more points. Shit, how many points? We could win the week for points. We get money for that too. Points. Let's see. Oh no. No, somebody had a good week. Somebody had a really good week. This guy's gonna be 4 and 5. Actually, some of these are going overtime. Yes. It's funny, this has, so I'm on CBS, this one guy's up 126 to 123.5. It has him 100% probability of winning. But Kareem Hunt is on the guy with 123.5. He could end up winning that. He's going to probably. This one. He's done. He's done. I appreciate you guys being here. Let's go. Benjamin, what up, man? What up? Don't let it go. Don't worry, Gene. It went to overtime. It went to overtime. Benjamin, you missed it earlier, man. Eric D was on a roll with some of them jokes. You would have loved it. You would have loved it. Well, Kansas City has 3 timeouts. I mean, they definitely could kick a field goal. They definitely could. With the Giants, I'm not a huge fan of his 2022. But I like Micah McFadden, but I'm not a big fan of his 2022 draft. It doesn't. I mean, when he did it, it looked amazing, without question. I like Wandale, but I mean, you could have had George Pickens there. But Pickens would have been a headache. His lineman sucked. McKeithen not on the team. Mizzoutu is garbage. Evan Neal, he missed a lot in 2020. He did. He missed a lot in 2022. He did. I mean, it happens to all gyms. You're not going to bet 1,000, but he struggled. I was going to say, I think Brown knows something. Yeah, I mean, listen, man, this is true, but the Giants could have taken Micah Parsons right there. The Giants could have taken Micah Parsons. And instead, they decided to drop back to 20th and take fucking Kadarius Toney. They could have just taken Micah Parsons right there. I always figured this. I mean, I think that John Runyon and Illuminor have done a good job. I think they did. I do. I don't think they were bad. I think his whole line side. The offensive line was pretty good until Andrew Thomas got hurt. But I think Runyon and Illuminor have done a good job. As well, you should, Benjamin. You should blame him. He has a lot to do with it. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to end it here. It's a quick. There's not much to talk about here. It's just sucks. One of these days I'll just do a freaking hangout stream. We can just talk about whatever. Those are better than talking about the shitty Giants. I talk about the shitty Giants all freaking week. So one of these nights we'll just do a hangout stream. We just talk about whatever the hell you want to talk about. Maybe one of these nights I'll just sit here and have some beers with the chat. That'd be great. Not Saturday. Saturday I'm going out with the missus. Day night with me and the missus. Me and the missus. We're going out with my in-laws too. So we're going to go out. We're going to have a little dinner. We're going to go to the casino. Hopefully win some money. That'd be great. I don't remember last time I was at the freaking casino. It's been a long time. So hopefully we have some fun there. But I always look forward to going out with my wife on a date night. We don't get to do that very often. So I'm ended here. I appreciate you guys and girls being here. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your night. I will see you soon. Bandy and Dizzle, let them out. Peace.
When migraine strikes, do you question the trade-offs of treating? With Ubrelvy, there's another option. Ubrelvy works fast. Most have migraine pain relief with...
Listen, guys, a real man never speaks ill of...
Citron.
I would really prefer if you would be quiet.
Now, did I laugh at every single joke? No, because I'm not what you'd call an average consumer. But the dude is funny. I mean, just look at his face. Why is he pulling that face? Since the return of Bumby's trademark in 2007, B was forced to remain mute. Except in
his completion. Dable had been given a ton of credit for the development of Josh Allen, and many hoped he would be able to turn Jones' career around. In the first game of the season, Jones threw a terrible interception in the end zone, which resulted in him getting chewed out on the sideline by his new head coach. However, with just over a minute left in the game, Jones threw a touchdown pass that ended up winning New York the game. The Giants had a chance to start 2022 3-0, but in a matchup with the Cooper Rush-led Cowboys, Jones played poorly and threw this game-ending interception on what could have been a game-tying drive. After this loss, New York went on a 4-game win streak. Daniel's numbers weren't eye-popping, but he managed the game and made the passes he needed to. His completion percentage was high, and he wasn't turning the ball over. The Giants finished the season with a 9-6-1 record. With a win over the Colts in Week 17, they clinched a playoff spot for the first time since 2016. During that game, the fans serenaded Jones with Daniel Jones chance, which was a stark contrast from the criticism he faced from fans the previous few seasons. In the wildcard round, the 6 Giants were headed to Minnesota to take on the 3 Vikings. In that one, Jones put together one of the best performances of his career. He completed 60% of his passes with 301 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 78 rushing yards, which propelled New York to the 1-point upset win. The divisional round didn't go as well for the QB. He completed only 55% of his passes for 135 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. Daniel's 2022 season was the best of his career thus far. He completed a career-high 67% of his passes, threw for over 3,000 yards for the first time since his rookie season, and had 15 touchdowns to a career-low 5 interceptions. The Giants front office decided this was enough to give him a massive 4-year, $160 million contract extension that committed to him as their franchise quarterback for the next few years. Heading into 2023, expectations were pretty high for the Giants. But in Jones' first game as one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, he was abysmal, throwing for 104 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and fumbling the ball twice in a 40-0 loss at home. The following week versus the Cardinals, who were thought to be one of the worst teams in the league that year, the Giants found themselves down 21 points late in the third quarter. Somehow, the offense finally clicked in the fourth quarter, and they were able to come back and win. But a few weeks later in prime time, Jones threw one of the worst interceptions you'll see in the red zone that was returned for a pick 6. Even Eli Manning couldn't believe he actually threw that ball. In this game, Jones was sacked a lot, but it wasn't necessarily the O-line's fault. You see, Jones missed basic protection changes and let free rushers come hit him untouched. And oh yeah, we also saw the classic, most common Daniel Jones problem in this one: his terrible field vision. Look at Wan'Dale Robinson.
And now for the final challenge. Create your own cereal.
Called the Kelson Mix. 3 favorite cereals mixed into one. Like Charles, cinnamon.
And right in his line of vision, wide open, jumping up and down to let his QB know he's open. But instead of throwing it to him, Jones just threw it out of bounds. On his second interception of the game, we could see just how little he trusts his own vision. Look at him double clutching this throw and almost triple guessing himself. In week 5, Daniel suffered yet another neck injury and was sidelined for 3 games. Just like his previous neck injury, this was pretty serious. It caused weakness in his left arm. But when he returned to the field in week 9, things just got even worse. Early in the game, he fell down without contact, which resulted in an ACL tear that ended his season. In the few games Jones did play in 2023, he didn't look anything like the quarterback fans saw in 2022. His play had regressed mightily. When backups Tyrod Taylor and Tommy DeVito played that season, they actually looked better than Daniel. The massive contract extension was already looking like a huge mistake. Before the 2024 draft, Giants GM Joe Shane tried to trade up to the 3rd overall pick so the team could draft quarterback Drake May. Ultimately, the Patriots held on to their pick, and the Giants drafted star wide receiver Malik Neighbors 6th overall, instead of drafting another quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. So Jones was the team's starting quarterback entering the 2024 season. In the first game of the season, Jones played horrendous, completing just 52% of his passes for 186 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and was repeatedly booed by fans. After the game, Vikings linebacker Jonathan Greenard said, "We kind of started to feel a little bit bad for him." I mean, the opposing team saying they feel bad for you because you just played that poorly? That's just brutal. And after the game, Giants fans waited by the player exit to boo him, right in front of his face as he was walking to his car. That's just too far in my opinion, guys. Boo him all you want when he's on the field, but when he's in his street clothes just walking to his car to go home, leave him alone. Don't seek him out to boo him. That's weird behavior. Earlier in his career, Daniel Jones could throw a pretty decent deep ball. But now, it seems like he might not even be able to physically throw the ball far down the field. In week 3 versus the Cowboys, deep pass after deep pass was coming up short and off target. Could this be the serious injuries he's had finally taking a toll on him? Possibly. At the time of this recording, the Giants have only had 13 pass plays gain 20 or more yards. That's the 4th least in the league. Jones has attempted 22 passes that traveled more than 22 yards in the air, but only 5 of those 22 passes ended up being completions. On Sunday Night Football versus the Bengals, the Giants' longest play on offense only went for 15 yards. And Jones threw this interception into quadruple coverage. The following week versus the Eagles, things got even worse. The Giants' longest play on offense only went for 14 yards, and Malik Neighbors was literally pointing out the open receiver to Jones while running his own route. Before that game was over, Dable ended up benching Daniel in favor of Drew Lock. After the game, when Neighbors was asked about the Eagles' defense by the media, he said, "I was open. Check the tape. I was open." And it's true. He was open. I'm recording this video at the end of October, and at this point, Daniel Jones hasn't thrown a touchdown pass at home since January 1st, 2023. Yeah, he hasn't thrown a touchdown pass at home since his giant contract extension. Right now, he has an 80.6 passer rating, which ranks 26th in the league, and is only higher than those of players like Bo Nix, Deshaun Watson, Jacoby Brissett, Bryce Young, Aiden O'Connell, and a few more. Throughout Jones's career, there has always been an excuse or a reason for his poor play. It was all the old line stinks, he doesn't have a number one wide receiver, or the coaching staff is bad. However, the Giants now have the best offensive line they've had in a very long time, and their best wide receiver since Odell Beckham Jr. I agree that the coaching changes early in Jones' career were terrible. I think if they stuck with Shermer as head coach, Jones would have thrived in his second pro season. But now, with Dable in his third year as head coach, there really isn't an excuse. Listen, I feel bad for Jones. I really do. But I also want out. He wants to be great and is doing everything you need to do to be great. But the problem is, he just doesn't have the tools. You can tell watching him play, he just doesn't have confidence in himself. Even he doesn't trust his own eyes in decision-making. And honestly, I don't know how you come back from that. He just seems totally shell-shocked out there. Deshaun Watson is making a ton of headlines right now. If you want to know what really happened with him and some of the stuff that isn't really talked about, check out this video up here.
Fresh Direct delivery. 2 chef-prepared meals.
Fresh Direct. Real food that's real New York.
Band-Aid Brand Pro Heal creates an ideal environment for 60% better healing.
For today's video, I'm going to be talking to you about legends from La Ciudad de Mexico. Welcome back to another spooky video. I've been loving to film these videos for October. For today's video, I'm going to be going over not 1, but 3 cases from La Mano Peluda. So La Mano Peluda was a radio show that was super popular in the 90s. It was a really popular paranormal radio show. The host, Juan Ramon Sainz, would have his viewers. What's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Erica. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I miss you. Today, I'm back at it again with some spooky content. Yeah, it's October. Like, dude, the month we've all been waiting for. Like, a kid that just kept getting taller. I'm trying to cover more stories like that. So if you know any that you would like for me to cover for spooky season, comment them down below.
Vogue Australia, I'm Ava Max, and this is the wish list. I'm going to describe to you how I would spend $5, $5,000, and $5 million. If you give me $5, I would probably give it to someone I see in need on the street. If I couldn't donate the $5, I would probably get some nuggets from McDonald's because I love me some nuggets. If you gave me $5,000, anything with stem cell research, I really truly want to give to, so we can start with that. If I couldn't donate it, I would just save the $5,000. If you gave me $5 million, I would give it to the Children's Hospital. $5 million, my house on the beach somewhere. Why not? Hello, Australia. I'm Ava Max, and this. Scared of
Accepted transfers animator. Will require using Bumblebee's greatest strength.
what? My sandwich?
Obnoxious personality.
Now, why do they keep being mute on live action movies? Because they thought it would be cool to make the average consumer, like my mom, chuckle. Is it cute, Belle? You'll let me know. 2010s, and complain about it being cute. But when you look at it, only a few continuities did this. Humor's view from the Fall of Cybertron game, that was suddenly connected to the Transformers Prime cartoon, where his voice was ripped out by Megatron, to which he eventually got it back by actually getting shot by Megatron, where he fell into a pool of cyber matter which repaired it, allowing him to stab Megatron with a surprise attack.
In the all-star.
Instant karma right there, dude. Despite only getting it last episode, you get a full series of it in the sequel series, Robots in Disguise.
Okay, team. Gas it up and blow it out.
Okay, I want the beats back.
Try a mistake.
Will someone...
I told you it wasn't my fault. Woo!
It's a good film. Please go watch it before it's too late. Before we begin, yes, I'm going to be talking about spoilers. It's mostly talking about his jokes, but I will be talking about what I'd like to see of him in the sequel. Now, in this movie, Bumblebee is voiced by Keegan-Michael Key.
Problems for democracy. And that's why we're running for... No, we're not. We're not? Who the hell?
Now, I said in my review, but one thing I wish we didn't overdo was B's jokes. So why am I making a video defending the guy? I just think the hate he's received has been a little too strong. I can agree to disagree in a lot of points people have made. Does he sometimes take you out of the serious moments? To me, I don't think he does. And he's not the only one making me laugh. Other characters have their jokes as well. But out of all of them, he's likely going to be one to be more sister, whatever. Because the other jokes that other characters make are like innuendo jokes that probably only you get, like references to other Transformers media. Bumblebee just simply serves to make the other person chuckle. And the dude was making people laugh. I remember in my early screening, a lot of people were laughing at his jokes. I may not be going ha-ha crying with laughter where my stomach hurts. Most of the time it was more like style. You know what I mean? Like, even though it's like, oh god, this joke again, stop. There's still a little bit of laughter in that side. But looking back, all of these jokes serve a lot of purpose to the character, and it actually makes him sort of a tragic character as well. We see Orion indeed be the lowest segment.
So much newness coming. Hang in there. February, I don't know the day, but February.
Is between joy and play. That's this.
Take myself on a dinner date. Take the champagne. 45 minutes on the cake. I'm on a bed. Yeah, watch me there.
This is the lasting image from the 2007 NFL season. Oh man, it was incredible. But so was everything that came before it. 2007 was an all-time great NFL season. And I'm here to remind you of all the cool shit that happened that football year in an epic tale as we go balls deep into 2007. Yes, we can. Let's get sports. The 2007 season opened up how it always should, with the defending champion Indianapolis Colts hosting the New Orleans Saints for the feel-good story of the 2006 season. I wonder if these two teams would ever meet in the Super Bowl. Now, the Saints did not live up to the promise of the 06 season, finishing just 7-9 after an 0-4 start. The Colts, on the other hand, won 13 games despite getting just 5 games out of Hall of Fame receiver Marvin Harrison. It's shocking, but the Colts actually finished with the best scoring defense in 2007, thanks in part to Defensive Player of the Year Bob Sanders, whose career turned out to be a massive what if due to injuries. Now, Sanders finished first in Defensive Player of the Year voting, 3 spots ahead of Chargers cornerback Antonio Cromartie, who was lights out in 2007. Cromartie picked off a league-high 10 passes, which is still 4 fewer than the number of kids he has.
What I know for sure is that our students at the Broadway Collective have become better humans because we pushed them.
Karis, who was 3.
Cromartie had 3 picks and 1/2 against Peyton Manning in a Week 10 game on Sunday Night Football. The Chargers actually picked Manning 6 times in this game, and the Colts still had a chance to win it. Surely, Adam Vinatieri, the most clutch kicker of all time, will make this 29-yard field goal. No, he does not. This was a huge win for the Bolts, who won 10 of 12 after starting 1-3. And those 3 picks in 1/2 may not have even been the most impressive thing Antonio Cromartie did all year. It's hard to beat scoring the longest touchdown in NFL history, which Cromartie did a week earlier against the Vikings. 109.88 yards. Surely this was the coolest thing to happen in this game, right? Not quite. You might remember this game for another record. The part where rookie running back Adrian Peterson carried the ball 30 times for 296 yards, breaking by Jamal Lewis set in 2003. This game basically clinched Offensive Rookie of the Year for Adrian Peterson, who beat out some familiar faces like Hall of Famer Calvin Johnson and future Hall of Famer Joe Thomas, who actually got 3.5 votes as an offensive lineman. Thomas got some votes probably because he was a big reason the Browns shocked everyone and finished 10-6 that season with Derek Anderson at quarterback. But in typical Browns fashion, they still missed the playoffs when the Colts laid down to the Titans in Week 17. Still, Thomas solidified his status as an elite tackle from day one of an 11-year NFL career, before he retired to pursue his childhood dream of blocking for Michael Phelps.
I needed something that had no impact on my joints.
First overall draft pick Jamarcus Russell sadly did not receive any votes. The Raiders passed on Calvin Johnson, Joe Thomas, Patrick Willis, Marshawn Lynch, Darrelle Revis, and of course, fantasy stud Adrian Peterson. Somebody say fantasy? I'm excited about my sponsor, Undies. It will double. Only finished 8-8, probably because they couldn't throw or catch the football.
It took everything in me not to flip them the birds, but
the class of the NFC North was in Green Bay. We didn't know it at the time, but this was Brett Favre's final year as a Packer. It was also Mike McCarthy's first as head coach, and he managed to get a vintage season out of the old gunslinger. In Week 4 against the Vikings, Favre broke Dan Marino's all-time touchdown record, throwing number 421 to a second-year wideout, Greg Jennings. His 15 picks would also give him 288 career interceptions, putting him first all-time in that category with 3 years left on his resume. In Week 8, Favre and Jennings also did this to the Broncos on the first play of overtime. Now, the Broncos might have been better in 07, but they didn't really play defense, and Jay Cutler played most of the season undiagnosed with diabetes. Many have asked, was it type 1 or type 2? Cutler's response was, I don't really give a shit.
Yeah, so you want me to show you how I tell before I have diabetes? And just right here. Right here. Yeah, after diabetes, exact same way.
The Broncos had a tough stretch against the NFC North in 2007, getting crushed by the Detroit Lions and losing a heartbreaker to the Chicago Bears, all because they broke the number 1 rule of the 2007 season. Don't kick it to Devin Hester. You would think you'd learn after the first touchdown, but they didn't. Hester took 2 to the house against the Broncos. This was 2 of his 6 return touchdowns in 2007, breaking the previous record of 5, which was also held by Devin Hester from the year before. Those were Hester's first 2 years in the league. 11 total touchdowns, 2 All-Pro team honors, and some of the greatest return work you'll ever see. Even with another record-setting year from Devin Hester, the Bears were unable to make the playoffs just a year after they advanced to the Super Bowl. Chicago lost its 8th game of the year in Week 14 to Washington, who was just 5-7 at the time. Less than 2 weeks earlier, Washington was struck with an unthinkable tragedy when their 24-year-old Pro Bowl safety, Sean Taylor, was shot and killed in a home invasion. It was tragic news that rocked the NFL world. And after losing in an emotional game against the Bills that week, the Skins reeled off 4 straight wins with backup quarterback Todd Collins, who hadn't started a game since the 1997 season and stole a wild-card spot in the NFC. Dan Snyder's porta potty tribute to Taylor 14 seasons later should be wiped clean like the asshole Dan is, and we can all remember what Collins and that team did to honor Sean Taylor. Washington did get some luck in Week 17 when they faced the 13-2 Dallas Cowboys, who had already wrapped up the NFC East and rested most of their starters, including quarterback Tony Romo. Following an embarrassing playoff snafu, Romo was stellar in 2007, throwing 36 touchdowns, including 15 to Terrell Owens. The NFC East was a lot better in 07 than it is today. 3 teams made the playoffs, and all 4 teams finished at 500 or better, even though the Eagles looked like some horrific version of the Chargers in these uniforms. In fact, they looked like the one child even Phillip Rivers couldn't love. The Philadelphia Eagles managed to put up 42 points in one half against the Lions in Week 3. Brian Westbrook had 110 rushing yards and 111 receiving yards in that game with 3 TDs, earning him the nickname Scar because of the way he murdered Lions. That was Westbrook's finest season, totaling over 2,000 yards from scrimmage and 13 tugs. The only other division as good as the NFC East was the AFC South, which also featured 3 playoff teams. The Texans found their quarterback in Matt Schaub. The Jaguars found their guy in David Garrard, aided by the duo of Fred Taylor and MJD, and the Titans won 10 games with Madden cover boy Vince Young at quarterback. Won 9 games as a starter, throwing just 9 touchdowns.
Did you know towels are a bunch of little towels stitched together? It's true. Look closer. Towels.
The other Southern Division, not quite as good. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers managed 9 wins and a division title led by John, I'm still freely sending emails, Gruden, and quarterback 37-year-old Jeff, I hope a woman isn't critiquing my play, Garcia, whose favorite target was also 37-year-old wide receiver Joey Galloway. Age 37 is nothing compared to Vinny Testaverde, who was 44 years old when he started and won a game for the Panthers, despite having begun his career during the Reagan administration. And just months after Michael Vick was suspended and eventually imprisoned for dogfighting, the Falcons became one of the worst teams in football. New head coach Bobby Petrino took over for Jim Mora Jr., lost 10 of his first 13 games, and quit. But he didn't just quit. He left a note in the locker room, took off in the middle of the night, and became the first 13 games and quit. But he didn't just quit. New head coach Bobby Petrino took over for Jim Mora Jr., lost 10 of his first 13 games, and quit. But he didn't just quit. He left a note in the locker room. Took off in the middle of the night and became the head coach at Arkansas within 24 hours. It was one of the most fucked up head coaching tenures in NFL history until Urban Meyer may have relieved Petrino of that honor. Now the Falcons, the Jets, the Chiefs, and the Raiders all finished 4-12 in 2007. The Raiders would have won a 5th game, but Mike Shanahan introduced the world to the last-second timeout in Week 2. A.K.A. icing the kicker. A game I was at, by the way.
Broncos country, let's ride.
The only teams worse were the 3 The Falcons, the Jets, the Chiefs, and the Raiders all finished 4-12 in 2007. The Raiders would have won a fifth game, but Mike Shanahan introduced the world to the last-second timeout in Week 2, a.k.a. icing the kicker, a game I was at, by the way.
Broncos country, let's rock.
The only teams worse were the 3-13 St. Louis Rams and the 1-15 Miami Dolphins. Miami was on a collision course for 0-16 before they walked it off in overtime against the Ravens, a game that pretty much ended the Brian Billick era in Baltimore. All right, you may have been waiting to hear about two teams. Let's start with the G-Men. In 2007, they were a pretty run-of-the-mill team aside from one crazy stat. They were 7-1 on the road and just 3-5 at home. But that last home loss was actually the greatest moral victory of all time. In Week 17, the Giants hosted the 15-0 New England Patriots. Anyone remember anything specific about the 2007 Pats? In the offseason, New England added 3 receivers, Dante Stallworth, a small white guy named Wes Welker, and Hall of Famer Randy Moss, who they got for a 4th-round pick on draft day from the Raiders. In his first game with the Patriots, Moss torched the New York Jets for 183 yards and a touchdown in a 38-14 win. That game really pissed off Jets head coach Eric Mangini, who decided to go nuclear against his former team, tipping off the NFL about a little thing called Spygate. Anyone remember anything specific about the 2007 Pats? In the offseason, New England added 3 receivers, Dante Stallworth, a small white guy named Wes Welker, and Hall of Famer Randy Moss, who they got for a 4th-round pick on draft day from the Raiders. In his first game with the Patriots, Moss torched the New York Jets for 183 yards and a touchdown in a 38-14 win. That game really pissed off. That last home loss was actually the greatest moral victory of all time. In Week 17, the Giants hosted the 15-0 New England Patriots. Anyone remember anything specific about the 2007 Pats? In the offseason, New England added 3 receivers, Dante Stallworth, a small white guy named Wes Welker, and Hall of Famer Randy Moss, who they got for a 4th-round pick on draft day from the Raiders. In his first game with the Patriots, Moss torched the New York Jets for 183 yards and a touchdown in a 38-14 win. That game really pissed off Jets head coach Eric Mangini, who decided to go nuclear against his former team, tipping off the NFL about a little thing called Spygate. My second favorite gate behind only Stargate. The Patriots were caught filming other teams during their walkthroughs, allegedly stealing their signals, which helped them figure out what plays their opponents were going to run before they ran them. This is also known as cheating. Cheating. The Pats were pissed and decided to go scorched earth on the rest of the NFL. The Patriots ended the season with a plus 315-point differential, the largest in NFL history. It included blowouts like a 52-7 victory over the Skins, a 55-10 beating of the Bills, a 49-28 win over the Cowboys. Their biggest included blowouts like a 52-7. Ended the season with a plus 315-point differential, the largest in NFL history. It included blowouts like a 52-7 victory over the Skins, a 55-10 beating of the Bills, a 49-28 win over the Cowboys. Their biggest challenge may have been a 4-point win over the Colts in a game that was dubbed Super Bowl 41 and a half. Tom Brady and Randy Moss were unstoppable. Heading into that Week 17 showdown with the Giants, they had connected for 21 touchdowns. And then this happened. That was Tom Brady's 50th touchdown pass, a record at the time, since tied by Patrick Mahomes and shattered by Peyton Manning. And that was Moss's 23rd touchdown reception, another record, but one that still stands. The Patriots pulled ahead to finish the 2007 season with an undefeated 16-0 record, something that hadn't been done since 1972 via the Don Shula-led Dolphins. But in a close game, the Giants proved they could hang with the best team in the NFL. The 07 playoffs included some iconic moments. In the wildcard round, the Seahawks scored 22 points in the last 6 minutes to complete a comeback against Washington. 20 of those points were totally unnecessary, though. Down 1 point in the last 2 minutes, facing 4th and 2, David Garrard broke the Steelers' back with a QB draw that finished off a Jags upset in Pittsburgh. The Jaguars shocking the Steelers in the postseason. I can confidently say that won't ever happen again.
It's over. The Jacksonville Jaguars have pulled off the upset of the playoffs.
Brett Favre beat the Seahawks in a snowstorm, converting a huge third down in vintage Brett Favre fashion. Regular season MVP Tom Brady completed 26 of his 28 passes in an 11-point victory over the Jags. No way the Jaguars could ever beat the Steelers in the playoffs, only to lose to the Patriots the following week twice.
And by the way, Miles Jack was never touched. They should not have blown the whistle. He should have been able to run for a touchdown.
And after a Phillip Rivers injury, Billy Volek stepped in and led the Chargers to a shocking upset over the Colts in the last game ever played at the RCA Dome. A postseason loss, adding to the narrative, Peyton Manning was only an elite regular season QB. Amani Toomer made the entire Cowboys defense miss, and R.W. McQuarters, sounds like a special coin you can only use at McDonald's, picked off Tony Romo with seconds remaining as the Giants continued to roll on the road. Terrell Owens still had Romo's back, though.
It's my team. It's my quarterback.
Phillip Rivers defying doctor's orders, defying human anatomy, played through a torn ACL. Essentially, his knee pulled from his endless supply of highly potent semen to create a temporary ACL to put up a respectable fight against the Pats, but New England advanced to 18-0 and clinched a spot in Super Bowl 42. Later that night, the Giants traveled to freezing Lambeau Field, where Tom Coughlin's face became literal red skin. The real reason Washington had to change their name. The Packers took the lead early on a 90-yard touchdown to Donald Driver. But the Giants countered with a pair of touchdown runs and were able to push the game to overtime, nearly winning it at the end of regulation. Green Bay got the ball first in OT. Then this happened.
Favre looking for Driver. It's picked off. Intercepted by Webster.
Favre interception? You got to be kidding me. This was the last of Brett Favre's roughly 102,000 passes as a Packer. 3 plays later, Lawrence Tynes drills a 47-yarder to send the underdog Giants to Glendale, Arizona, where they would meet up once again with the undefeated Patriots, this time in Super Bowl 42. Remember that insane Patriots point differential? Well, the New York Giants and their defense, led by Michael Strahan, held them to just 14 points, taking us to where this video started. The Giants needed a touchdown, but were stuck with a 3rd and 5 on their side of the field. Of course, even before David Tyree made the greatest catch in Super Bowl history, the Giants had already exceeded expectations just by hanging with the Pats in the big game. New York entered the Super Bowl as 13-point dogs, but their incredible pass rush kept them in the game and even had them leading until a Randy Moss touchdown put the Patriots on top with under 3 minutes in the 4th quarter. But then, the legend of Eli Manning was born. Eli Manning shouldn't have even gotten a pass off on this play. He should have been sacked. but he made the most athletic play he or any of his brothers have ever performed and bought enough time to chuck up a prayer deep to the middle of the field. David Tyree, a former sixth-round pick who had lost his mother just 2 months earlier, pinned the ball to his helmet, even with Rodney Harrison all over him. This is a fourth-string wide receiver who couldn't catch a pass all week, scoring a touchdown early in the fourth quarter, then made an impossible grab to keep the Giants' drive alive. It is, in my opinion, the greatest play that ever happened in any Super Bowl. And the Giants caught a break when Asante Samuel dropped a pick and Steve Smith, no, not that one, converted a 3rd and 11 in one of the greatest forgotten plays of all time. Then the Giants went for the win and got it. Plaxico Burress shooting the Patriots instead of himself, scoring the game-winning TD, and the Giants defense polishes this one off. Wait. We were talking about forgotten plays, right? Well, what about this pass to Randy Moss that very well could have sent the game into overtime? Randy Moss made a career out of mossing players, and he didn't even go up for this ball.
He had a couple steps, and he still had some
Career out of mossing players, and he didn't even go up for this ball.
He had a couple steps, and he still had some left. I mean, he could have gone after that ball if it was able to get out further in front of him.
Ooh, people forget about that. The Giants took one kneel down. Bill Belichick scurried off the field in shame, presumably to mastermind new ways to cheat, and the glorious 2007 season reached its conclusion. The New York Football Giants, who started 0-2, finished as Super Bowl champions, knocking off the 18-0 Patriots in one of the greatest David and Goliath moments in sports history. It was an incredible season that deserved an incredible ending, and oh boy, did we get it. Thanks for watching the 2007 season tribute.
Think about me now and who I could have been. And then I picture all the perfect diamonds. Till I cut the strings on your tiny.
Snipe this stupid ass.
Right now, and they say, hey, let's look like a dynamite, but get to sight that you. Can you guess what song his name is? Always say you love me, but you always thinking all about you, especially when you've had a few. All the things I heard from your ex, now they make a whole lot of sense. Already feel bad for your next that have to put up with you. Oh yeah, words on myself, open my, you ain't my friend. Turns out they were right. It takes two to make it all go. Baby, you're come on, let's do it. I'm touching out of the floor. Try my heart, follow you home, but I won't be waiting. Wait to myself, open my, make my breath. They were right. It takes two to make it all go. Listen to me, just look at your reflection, baby, baby, you're the problem.
Home sweet home. Welcome back, Chief. The North Pole has been taken. Ice Spice was one of the biggest up-and-coming rappers in 2022, one of the biggest celebrities in 2023, and now is one of the biggest flops in 2024. Now, if you clicked on this video, then you probably know Ice Spice for her very big music catalog and ass. But lately, Ice Spice has tarnished her career completely, and you can see it in the numbers from how she went from 40 million monthly listeners on Spotify to 17 million and has lost over 500,000 followers on Instagram. This woman's career is going down harder than the Titanic, and it's completely her own fault and wrongdoing. So, how did she mess it all up? Let's cut the bullshit and get right into it. Now, Ice Spice had three main factors that made her such a big star in the first place: her looks, her music, and her likable personality. All of these she slowly crumbled one by one. But how exactly did Ice Spice even get famous in the first place? Well, when looking at her background, she was practically born to be a rapper. Real name Isis Gaston, she grew up in the Bronx, and I see why she completely changed that name. Now, that area of New York is home to some of the greatest rappers of all time, like Jay-Z, Nas, and Biggie Smalls. There is so much hip-hop culture in just that one tiny town alone. Her father, Joseph, was also an underground rapper himself. Not much is really known about his career, but it didn't seem like he really made it too far. He would constantly freestyle in the house and even put her on to hip-hop music in the first place. But Joseph wanted what was best for his daughter. He didn't want his daughter to be another statistic, so he sent her to a private Catholic school in Yonkers. And Ice Spice would go on to say that this was one of the best decisions her parents made for her.
I thought it was bad, but it's just Bronx shit. Like, y'all know how it is. If you go to school in the Bronx, you turn out differently a little bit. Like, I probably would have been pregnant if I had. Probably would have been had kids if I went to school in the Bronx. No problem.
Now, it was in high school where Ice Spice would start to freestyle her own raps, writing lyrics in the notes of her phone and rapping the beats that she found online. Freshman year, she made her Instagram handle Ice Spice. However, she never actually recorded any music until she went to college at SUNY Purchase, where she played volleyball. Ice Spice was a really good player, and she said that this was a very, very fun time in her life. She started posting some of her freestyles here and there on Instagram, and then she was discovered by a local producer by the name of Riot. And this would be a very, very key component for her success. Not only is Riot the producer for all of her songs, but he also had some very, very strong connections in the industry. For one, his dad was DJ NF, who was a radio personality for the Hot 97 station and was a road DJ for Biggie Smalls back in the day. His mom also worked in the industry as well, but her position isn't really well known. But in her sophomore year, Ice Spice decided that college was no longer for her, and she dropped out. She didn't really know what she was going to do, but it wasn't college. Now, to earn money, she would work at Wendy's and The Gap until she had things figured out. Riot would convince her to start taking music more seriously, and then she would finally start to record. She went viral for the very first time in March of 2021, but not for her music. On TikTok, she posted herself doing the Bust It challenge, which was trending pretty hard at the time, and people really liked her big personality and ass. She saw that she was getting a little bit of a following, so she continued to post thirst traps when she actually dropped music. Seeing as how she got attention for her looks, this would be a very continuous theme for her in the future. She would drop her very first song on March 5th, fully freestyle. She made a video for the song and promoted it through TikTok.
Because of her TikTok following, the song would actually get some traction, and then she would drop more and more songs. Also getting some traction on SoundCloud as well, which is pretty good. Now, the style that she did was the Brooklyn drill genre, which was very, very popular from the late Pop Smoke. This was the biggest rap subgenre in 2020 and was everywhere. It was known for its heavy, cutthroat, vicious, unforgivable attitude. Now, Ice Spice was a pretty unique voice for the subgenre because she was rapping about using her looks to get whatever she wanted in a genre full of men. This really helped her out, and she would also make an appearance on the On the Radar radio where she would do a freestyle. This helped her get taken a little bit seriously. And it would be in August of 2022 that she dropped the song Munch. It was posted on World Star Hip Hop, and it was a sassy Brooklyn drill anthem about using her looks to get anything she wanted from a guy that she referred to as a munch. Now, the opening line of the song is what really made this thing go viral. You thought I was feeling you? That fella a munch. I'm sorry. Now, the song had mixed reception at first, with 700,000 likes, but 400,000 dislikes on the video. We moving back to Mama's house with this one. We was deep in the trenches, now we digging deeper with this one. We going from poverty back to the Great Depression with this one. But the song did go viral for a combination of reasons. Now, the opening lyrics to the song went crazy over social media and helped become the new slang. It was catchy, sassy, and a really cool thing for all of the girls to say. It was basically the woman's anthem. And the other reason was because guys thought that Ice Spice was hot. Like, literally the entire video was Ice Spice wearing pretty revealing clothing and shaking those cheeks. Even if you didn't like the song, lots of dudes are gonna watch that. And it worked. Music formula. Simple beat, simple lyric, big energy, and big ass. Now listen, using sex appeal is nothing new in the music industry. This goes back decades ago, and it's still done today in all genres. So it's not like Ice Spice was using some particular cheat code here. And it's not like all dudes thought this song was mid. There were tons of dudes who were secretly bumping this track and getting their inner zesty on. Now, the song was one of the biggest trends of 2022, but the actual performance of the song didn't really reflect that. That year, the video only had 35 million views and over 60 million streams on Spotify, which is a lot, don't get me wrong, but since everyone quite literally knew the lyrics, that wasn't really that much. You'd think that it would have at least topped the Billboard Hot 100, but it didn't. The song would only further go viral after Ice Spice revealed that Drake sent her a DM praising both her and the song. Drake would later fly out Ice Spice and her team to his OVO festival in Toronto where dating rumors began. And fans pointed out theories that she was secretly the mom of Adonis because of how similar they looked. Which obviously isn't true, but it's pretty fucking funny. And from their initial link up, Ice only had really nice things to say about Drake.
When Drake DM'd me, I did not really expect that, but I had just landed in LA for my Genius open mic for Munch, and he was actually like, yo, Munch is hard, and you're on the radar freestyle is hard. And I was like, damn, that's crazy, because I'm really in LA about to shoot the open mic. Like, linking up with him was so cool. Like, he's mad nice and respectful. We went to OVO Fest. It was exciting because it was like his first time performing in Toronto, I think, in like a couple years. So it was just a movie. Like, everybody was excited. The energy was high. Nicki performed. It was lit. Wayne did his thing. That's crazy.
But the day after the festival, Drake would unfollow her, and no one really knew why.
It's been speculated that Drake unfollowed you afterwards. You want to tell us some tea on that?
He did. I don't know why, though.
Shame on you, Drake. Shame on you. You shouldn't have done that.
It's okay, though.
She's out here.
It's all love.
Guys, thank you so much.
Drake would then similarly diss her in the song Back Outside Boys. She had 10 trying to rap It's Good on mute. That's really funny. She responded on Twitter seemingly unbothered about it. At least I'm a 10. That's how I imagine she would talk. But later we'll confirm that her and Drake were completely fine. And all of this would be good publicity for Ice, as being associated with the biggest rapper is only good publicity. But the question is, how long was she going to be around? Well, it wasn't so good after she did her very first performance at Rolling Loud when 504 brought her out. She did one song, twerked for most of it, and the crowd seemed completely unengaged by it. She was clowned really hard for this and was deemed a one-verse wonder. There were also tons of other videos surfacing of her live performances where the crowd was completely non-existent or non-engaged. All the footage of her concerts that went viral was just her shaking ass and not really doing much else. To many people, she was more like a glorified stripper rather than a rapper. It also wasn't a good look for her when it was revealed that she was asking more money from promoters that booked her for shows now that she was popping. And she was threatening to cancel on those already pre-arranged shows if they didn't pay her more. This made her seem pretty ungrateful, egotistical, and selfish in the eyes of many people. It seems like her career was going to completely end by the start of 2023, but this was only the beginning for her. Now, before 2022 ended, Ice Spice would make one of the best career choices ever by getting on a stream with Kai Cenat. Now, in the stream, she was really able to show off her personality and who she really was. And because streams are just so raw and unfiltered, she was really able to just let her personality show. People being able to see this relaxed, human side of her really made her likable. Ice and Cleo seemed so genuinely chill, I'm shook. I love Ice and Kai still made sure Cleo wasn't left out of nothing. I love how Ice Spice is still paying attention to her friend when she says something and her friend has Ice Spice back. I love them. Now, Kai Cenat was on his way to becoming one of the biggest streamers ever at this time, so this stream was a smash hit, getting over 5 million views on YouTube, and the clips of it also went crazy viral on social media. She would then start doing lots of more interviews and media appearances, which just made her even more and more likable. At first, Ice Spice didn't really have that dedicated of a fan base because the fans didn't really know her. But now she was seen as this sweet, chill girl from the Bronx who wore bright colors, had a nice smile, and had a very funky hairstyle. It made her really appealing to young girls. Guys wanted to date her, girls wanted to be her. It was the perfect combination for appeal. And this would be great for her upcoming single, Bikini Bottom. This was a song that quite literally sampled SpongeBob music and also followed a very similar formula to Munch, which was all she really needed. The song